Welcome to another episode of the Man Cave Chronicles.
Welcome to the party, pal.
You're my boy, Blue.
Yo, Adrian.
A podcast with interviews of amazing guests from the world of pop culture.
Oh, yeah.
TV.
Nice.
Movies.
Oh, I love the movies.
Comedy and more. From deep inside the Man Cave, your host, Elias.
Ben, welcome to the cave.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
How are you, man? What's new with you?
I'm good. Hanging in there.
Yeah, there you go. How's quarantine life been treating you?
You know what? It has its ups and downs. I'm gonna be honest with you. There are some parts of it that are like really kind of nice, and then there are other parts that, you know, I'm going quietly insane.
There you go. What have you been doing with some of your time off?
I mean, it's been a lot of working around the house and a lot of Netflix and a lot of spending time with family. And we have a 5-year-old son, so it's like, you know,
Busy.
keeping him busy and entertained and occupied, and while trying to still do everything. My wife and I, we also own a coffee shop, and that's been a little bit of a challenge, you know, keeping that going through all of this and all that sort of stuff. But there's also been a lot of quality time.
Oh yeah, I have two young kids myself, so I know all about it.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it. Well, at least if you got two, they can like hang out with each other. No.
Yeah. I mean, my daughter is 5 and my son is 2, so they hang out sometimes. Other times they just want to be away from each other.
Yeah, totally. My son actually turns 5 tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So he must be excited.
He is, but then it's just like, you know, I was super bummed out about it, to tell you the truth, because, you know, not because it's his birthday, but we were in January, we were talking to him about, you know, for your birthday, we're going to go to the water park, because he was excited and never been to a water park before. And it was just like, now we can't. And the other day he brought it up and he was like, is the virus gone? Can we go to the water park now? I'm like, buddy, sorry, we can't.
I know.
You know, we can't.
We had to do the same thing for my daughter's birthday party. We had to cancel it. Yeah,
it's rough.
That's rough. It is. So, man, you've been busy for a few years now, huh? With film and TV. And, you know, when I was doing some research on you, you know, you had a role on Bosch.
I did have a role on Bosch.
You know, and recently, now you have a movie that just released last week, Mighty Oak, and we'll talk about that. But let's talk a little bit more about you first. Where are you originally from?
Australia.
How was it?
Australia. I grew up in Sydney, Australia, in Northern Beaches area, which is, you know, about an hour outside the city. Kind of small beach community. Really great place to grow up, honestly.
I assume it's awesome weather.
Yeah, I mean it's like same as here, Southern California, really, but a little more humid and we get a little more rain. You know, but it's the same kind of vibe.
Right. So So like growing up there, like what were you into as a kid?
Surfing.
Surfing?
I grew up, you know, steps from the beach, and everywhere where I grew up, like the whole kind of community was all on the coastline. So it was, you know, beach community, everyone surfed, that kind of stuff. I was also into boxing as a kid. Still am.
I did see that. But, yeah. How did you get into the boxing world?
Really funny story, actually. So I heard when I was about 11 at school, I heard a rumor that one of the kids wanted to beat me up, and I didn't know how to fight, so I was like, well, I'm gonna go learn. And then so I took, you know, a couple boxing classes, and then just like I fell in love with the sport. Turns out that was all false. The kid never actually wanted to beat me up or anything like that. It was just all, you know, someone said something, who said something, and it was just all BS. But, you know, it turned out being one of the best things ever, because that was, you know, I found a real passion in that sport.
Is boxing huge in Australia?
No, no, not
Oh,
really.
no.
Not really.
I was just thinking, like, like how does somebody just jump into it? What made you think of boxing, like, instead of like karate or something like that?
I don't know. I really don't know. It just kind of popped into my head. And it was like, that's going to be what I'll do. And then, so I found, I think I looked in like the newspaper to find a local boxing class, and then kind of showed up one day. It was like little 11-year-old kid. This like warehousey garage gym kind of thing. And yeah, I just loved it.
Yeah. So it wasn't one of those things where you're watching Rocky and you just wanted to do it.
No, I mean, yeah, of course I had watched Rocky, and stuff, but that wasn't the thing that spurred me on into it.
Yeah. Did you so how many years did you fight pro at all?
No,
No.
no,
So you
I
just
never did that. It was, I mean, that was the goal, to go and do something like that. It used to be what I wanted to do for,
yeah.
my life. But then I think the idea of it kind of outweighed what it actually took to do that.
Yeah.
you know.
So how did you go from like boxing to one day you're like, oh, I want to get to the entertainment industry? How did that happen?
So it was funny. So I grew up always watching movies. Just that was like my thing. I would watch movies, and not in a way that I was just like I want to make movies one day. It was just always it was like kind of like an escape for me. I could watch a movie and get taken to another place for hours or whatever, and then kind of seemed to me like that's something for other people to do. It never even crossed my mind to be able to like pursue that.
Yeah.
Um, so it was always just a thing that I did was watch movies and really liked it. And then after I finished high school, I went and backpacked around Europe for a couple months, and I saw this whole kind of big world out there, and it was like, wait a second, I can kind of do whatever I want if I just try. So I decided while I was away, I decided, when I get home, I'm going to try and do that. So I did the same thing. I looked up where could I find the closest acting class, and then
It's great. How do so like
the
how would
rest
you
is history. And now I'm here.
yeah, how would you describe like your experiences taking acting classes?
I mean, it was awesome. It was really cool, to tell you the truth, because I showed up and I just started learning about what it actually takes to make the words on a page come alive, and it started to become somewhat of a obsession for me to try and figure that stuff out, to try and figure out. It's almost like you're a detective in some ways. You're kind of dissecting each word and piece of punctuation that's on the page and figuring out what is the writer trying to tell with this line or that line or that line, and how do you bring it to life and make it real. And that's kind of taught to approach everything, and it never felt like laboring. It never felt like actual like work. It was just something I just.
So how old were you when you decided you wanted to move to the US to keep going with the acting?
When I decided to come over here, I was 22.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So kind of like a bandit, you just pulled it and went for it, huh?
Well, yeah, I did this one movie in Australia, and it turned out that movie was going to make its world premiere at Tribeca Film Festival. So that kind of seemed like a good time to come over here and check it out. myself and one of the other guys from the movie, his name is Israel Cannon. We came over here together, and I got off the plane, and I was only supposed to come here for a month, and then I just never went home. I just kind of got here, and I was like, okay, I'll stay. I'll do this.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So I mentioned earlier, you did a Bosch for a season. You played a bad guy, man. How was your experience? How was your experience on a pretty popular show on Amazon? How was your experience?
Oh my
with something
gosh,
like that?
so fun. They're the best group of people. Those guys on Bosch, they're absolutely awesome. I had a blast. I had such a blast working on that show.
How was it playing Carter and a bad guy in a show for almost the whole season?
Yeah, it was fun. I hadn't played that much of a bad guy before, and it was interesting to kind of jump into that because you had permission to be a bad guy, and it was kind of like it was really kind of fun.
Yeah.
And getting to show up on set, and the majority of my work and my storyline was with Titus Welliver's storyline, Bosch, and dude, getting to watch that guy work, he's a pro. That was like an acting school all together right there. That guy's a real deal. Such a pro.
He looks serious all the time.
Yeah, but you know what? It's like he just has this. I mean, it's this character. The character of Harry Bosch is like he's just created like this living, breathing, real person out of the books that Michael Connelly wrote. And
yeah.
He's such a pro, but such a good dude. Really nice guy.
So I mentioned earlier also, you had a movie that just got released last week called Mighty Oak. How did you, really quick, tell the listeners what the show's about, and then how did you get involved with the project?
So it is a movie set in San Diego, and it's a story of a band, and the story of a band who is like on the brink of making it, and on the night of one of our first gigs, which is like the big gig where we're opening for Arcade Fire at the Hollywood Bowl, and we're making it, and so we're driving up to LA, and then boom, we get in a car crash, kills our lead singer, crushes all of our dreams forever and ever and ever. And then 10 years later, Gina, our manager, played by Janel Parish, she comes back, and they've discovered this 12-year-old kid who is an absolute genius, and who plays just like our lead singer, who sings just like our lead singer, who has the same music, and he draws the same pictures, he does all of this. So there's this question, is this a reincarnation of our lead singer Vaughn? And then the band gets back together, and we start playing shows again, and then you have to watch it to know the rest.
Right.
But
so
I got involved just the way I would regularly get involved in a project. I got a call saying, can you come in, can you put down a tape, audition for this role? I did, and ended up booking the job, and then a week later we were showing up on set.
So when you read the script, what was your reaction to this?
I thought it was going to be so fun. It's a character that I've been wanting to play recently. It was a comedic character, the quirky comic relief guy, and I was looking to do something like that, so it came along at just the right time. Matt Allen wrote a great script, and so yeah, it was a no-brainer for me. I just jumped at it.
So you played Darby. Like, how would you? You said he's funny and everything. Like, how else would you describe him?
I mean, he's the drummer. He he's probably the most out there character of all of them. He's, you know how everybody in a group of friends, you've got that one guy who opens his mouth and you're like, what did you just say? How do you even think that way? So that's Darby. He's just the guy. He's a riot. He's hilarious.
So, like, when you got the role, like, did you go back to like watch any other like similar movies? Did you have an idea like how you're gonna play this character?
I beg your pardon. You kind of cut out
I said
there for a second.
after you got the role and everything, like, and you knew that you knew the script was gonna be about a band and music and stuff like that. Did you go like? Did you do any research? Did you go like watch any other similar type of movies just to have an idea how you wanted to play this character?
Well, I had an idea about how I wanted to play the character as a whole, just from the ride. You know, there's a kind of know what the story is going to entail and require of you. So I had a general idea about the way I wanted to play the character. Not in school and stuff like that. I was a guitarist. So I had done that stuff before, but you know, I also see all of the music movies and I see all of the stuff like that. So I had a general idea about which way I kind of wanted to go with this.
What was the biggest challenge you had trying to connect with the character? Was there any?
It wasn't really a challenge trying to connect with the character per se. I mean, the biggest challenge about it was probably the turnaround time. And I'm not saying turnaround time because that was hard. The turnaround time because it was fast. We kind of got in there, got it done, and then all of a sudden it was over. And that was kind of a bummer because we all had so much fun. So that was the biggest challenge about it, that it had to end.
How can the listeners find them? Where can they find the movie to watch it?
Right now it's still theaters and,
that's right, drive-ins, right?
Drive-ins and stuff like that. Yeah, you can find a list of the theaters and stuff on the website, mightyoak.com and mightyoakmovie.com, and then also you can follow it on Instagram, Mighty Oak Movie, and it's going to be coming to streaming July 7th.
What's next for you after this? Do you have any other upcoming projects that you ready to talk about, or like sink your teeth in?
A couple things in the pipeline. Things that I'm working on, creating myself, that I'll be looking to star in and produce. But you know, it just all depends on how the rest of this COVID thing goes. And I mean, you know, I've been seeing things in production are going to be okay to start opening up again soon. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Let's see. I guess if 2020 has taught us anything, it's that you can't really make plans about the future.
That's right. You're right about that. Yep.
We had plans to go to a water park tomorrow, and so so that ain't happening. So I don't know. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that things can start up soon and everyone does their part to keep this thing at bay.
Yeah. Lastly, Ben, how can the listeners find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram, and that's at ben.milliken, MILLIKEN, and Twitter at Ben Millie Tweets. So look me up and give me a follow.
All right, Ben, this was fun. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a blast.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap, everybody. That's a wrap.
Thanks for listening to the Man Cave Chronicles podcast.
I finally get my man cave.
You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at the MCC Podcast and our website, themccpodcast.com. Until next time.